If you've been teaching for more than a day or two, you've probably had some negative experiences. You can get bitter or get better. You can turn lemons into lemonade, or you can take that negativity and carry that baggage around with you. Which sounds like the better option? In this episode, I'm going to go through some negative experiences that I've had in my career and was able to generate some positive outcomes for me and my students. Just a disclaimer, these examples have all been cherry-picked. There have been plenty of times in my career where I've got bitter over a negative experience instead of better. And what did it do? It hurt me twice. I'm not going to talk about these because the outcomes are boring and predictable. So that's why I'm cherry-picking the times that I was able to grow as a teacher. The second thing that I need to disclose is that all of these examples involve some sort of interpersonal conflicts. And as you know, there's always two sides to every story. The people on the other side aren't here to defend themselves or give their point of view. And I don't really want the focus to be on them, but on me as a teacher and my growth. Once upon a time, I took 160 high school students to New York City to perform a concert and do some sightseeing for 5 days. It was a pretty big undertaking, and although I had great support from other orchestra teachers in my district and from some really helpful parents, it was still a lot. As I think back upon that trip, I think I maybe only got about 6 hours of sleep total the entire time. When I got back to my hotel room and I was settling down, getting ready for bed, and my head hit the pillow, it seems just like magic. I would get a knock at the door and there was a sick kid or somebody had an injury or there was a phone call or a parent emergency or something like that. And when you're dealing with 160 kids, there's going to be problems that you're going to have to solve. And not all of these problems are going to be during the daytime, but that's not really the point or the scope of this video. But let's just say I earned my paycheck that month. When I got back, there was a faculty meeting and a slide came up to recognize the teacher of the month. And before they presented it, I had this thought in the back of my head like, hey, you worked really hard. You put in a lot of effort. Maybe this is your shot for teacher of the month. And instead, it was explained to us that everybody in the school was some sort of a teacher, and the award went to our testing coordinator for doing such a good job with the standardized test. Now listen, the recipient of this award is a fantastic person who works really hard and is really good at their job. And standardized testing is bad enough, but this person's able to make it as painless as it could possibly be, is really organized and does a really great job. Not saying they didn't deserve the award, but in that moment, there was just this dichotomy between what I thought was going to be rewarded behavior and sort of like my warped idea of what it is, like we're somehow rewarding standardized testing instead of rewarding great effort. And that started to make me feel bitter. And I'm also not saying that I should have won, because there's a lot of great teachers in our school and they do a fantastic job. I just thought that given my circumstances, I put in a lot of effort and maybe I would see some sort of recognition for that, and that I didn't. It made me start to feel bitter. So when I was an undergraduate, I was introduced to Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And these are just a collection of journal entries. And Marcus Aurelius never intended these to be published. In fact, I think if he knew that this was going to be published and people are going to be reading this 2,000 years later, he'd probably be pretty embarrassed, because he wrote some pretty personal details in there. But there's a line that I've highlighted in the book that says, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It's all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Now, Marcus Aurelius had the most powerful army, the largest treasury that the world had ever seen, and access to libraries with the wisest scholars everywhere. Well, I'm not a Roman emperor, and I live in a modest house with my family on a single income. But guess what I have? I've got indoor plumbing. I've got safe and reliable transportation. I have an iPhone that contains all of the world's knowledge. I've got access to modern medicine. That's right. The average expectancy for a male at that time was about 20. And Marcus Aurelius himself, the most powerful man in the world, died from a bacterial infection, whereas I can go to CVS and pick up some antibiotics for about $20. In comparison, my quality of life is great, and it would have been nice to get some recognition, but there are things in my life that make me a lot more happy. If you win an award like that, Yeah, you're going to be happy for a day or two, but ultimately, what are the things in your life that really make you happy, that have sustained happiness over the course of your life? These little things. And another advantage that I have over Marcus Aurelius is that I have 3 children, and he only had one that survived, and what a jerk that guy was. And guess what? When I go home today, I'm going to see my 3 children who are not jerks, and we're all going to pull out our violins and we're going to play Twinkle Star with the harmonies, and that's going to make me happier than winning the Teacher of the Millennium Award. Have you had a discouraging experience in your teaching? In the comment section below, please tell us your story. Did you get bitter or get better? If you got bitter, it's not too late to grow from it. I would love it if you had something that you could contribute, so please post in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.